Now, when it comes to perceived value, Alex Hormozi, which is a business coach and a very successful entrepreneur, has a pretty cool equation that he believes makes up perceived value in the eyes of your customer. He says that perceived value is equal to desired outcome times perceived likelihood of success divided by time delay times effort and sacrifice. But the idea mathematically is that if you want to maximize the perceived value, what you do is you'd increase the things at the top or the numerator, and you would decrease the things at the bottom or the denominator. So you'd increase desired outcome, increase perceived likelihood of success, reduce time delay, and reduce effort and sacrifice. So you want to maximize the top and you want to minimize the bottom, and that's how you'll maximize the perceived value in eyes of the customer. So if we want to build an irresistible offer, these 4 are the things that we should fine-tune inside our offer. Now, first off, we have desired outcome. So according to the equation, what we want to do in order to maximize perceived value in the eyes of the customer is maximize the desired outcome. Now, what does desired outcome actually mean? If we go back to the idea of a core offer, we said the core offer is built of 3 things. Number 1, the problem that we're solving, the solution that we're providing to solve the problem, and the outcome that the customer will achieve once we implement that solution inside their business. Now, desired outcome is just this 3rd component. The outcome that the customer will achieve. What you want to always do is you want to find out what the desired outcome of the customer actually is. What are they hoping to achieve fundamentally? And then you want to shape your product's outcome to be the same as the customer's desired outcome. So if the customer fundamentally wants to make more money, you want to make your product look as if it will achieve that objective for them by getting them to make more money. If your customer wants to free up time so they can spend time with their family, that is their desired outcome, and your product should also be touching on their desired outcome. So the idea is you want to identify exactly what their desired outcome is and then repeat that back to them inside the actual offer. So you'll use this especially during your sales calls. When you try to sell someone, what you should always do is you should always tell them about the desired outcome. So once you figure out what this person wants, you kind of tell that back to them, and because they're hearing what they want, they find your offer much more valuable, or the perceived value of your offer in their eyes increases. Now, how can you maximize the desired outcome? Well, first and foremost, you want to paint the after picture. As I said before as well, the outcome is what happens after they implement the solution. What does life look like for them after they implement the solution? Another thing is you want to focus on benefits, not features. And now this is also a fundamental sales technique. You should never be talking about features when you talk to a customer, because the customer doesn't care about the technical details. They just want to know what benefits it brings for them. So instead of talking about automating lead generation, which is kind of a technical thing, you want to say you'll make more money or you get more clients. Does that make sense? So one is talking about the technical features of what you're actually doing. You're building a workflow in 810. The other one is talking about why that should be valuable to the customer. What do they actually get out of it? So you want to talk about benefits, not features inside the desired outcome. And if you can, you definitely can't always, and that's why I have if, but if you can, try and quantify that desired outcome. So for example, you'll double your income in 30 days, or you'll increase or you'll reduce your headcount by 30%. Having it quantified makes the customer know exactly what they should expect, and in turn will increase the perceived value of your offer. Now, the reason why I have this as if possible is because if you're especially just starting out, you would really not know whether it's going to increase by 10%, 20%, 30%, 50%. You'll figure it out eventually as you implement solutions for different businesses and you see how much value it brings them, then you can say you'll be able to increase it by 30%, 10%, 15%, whatever. But at the start, you shouldn't make assumptions and you shouldn't lie. Because if you tell someone you're going to increase their bottom line by 10%, and you only increase it by 2%, well, then they're not going to be a very happy customer. And so only quantify if you 100% know with data that this is exactly what they're going to achieve from working with you. Now, an example of a desired outcome that is not really good is automated cold email sequence. So going to a customer and saying, after I implement this for you, you will have an automated cold email sequence. Okay, but like, why should I care? Why is this valuable to me? What does it actually change in my life? The better way to say it is you will double your repeat sales with perfectly timed emails that go out while you focus on growing your store. So I'm saying you're going to double your repeat sales, and you can also focus on growing your store. So you don't have to sit down and send out these cold emails yourself. You can go and focus on growing the store, and I'll double your repeat sales just by sending out some automated emails. So one's talking about features, the other's talking about benefits and painting a picture of what life would look like after you come and work with us. Now, when it comes to a custom development agency, the desired outcome will be different for each customer. Sometimes I talk to a customer and the customer wants to fully automate their business so they can go and live in Hawaii and sip cocktails. That's one person's desired outcome. Someone else wants to reduce headcount so they can add 10% to their income. That's another person's desired outcome. Another person wants to automate their lead generation so they can make more money and grow their business. That's another person's desired outcome. What you want to do is you want to figure out what that person's desired outcome actually is, and then regurgitate that back to them inside the sales call and inside your actual offer. That is how you'll maximize desired outcome. Now, what I want you guys to do is go to the AAA strategy book and write down what the desired outcome of your ideal customer actually is. Now, as I said, if you're running a custom development agency, you're going to be making guesses because it will depend largely on the customer you work with. So just write down a couple of things that you think it might be that you can use inside your messaging. But if you're running a productized agency and you're selling a product, you should definitely know what the desired outcome of your customer actually is and why do they want that problem solved. Now, the next thing you can do to make your offer more valuable is to increase the perceived likelihood of success in the eyes of your customer. Perceived likelihood of success just means how likely does your customer think they are to actually achieve the desired outcome if they were to go ahead with your offer. So for example, if you have a customer and you're telling them that they're going to increase their bottom line by 20%, which is the desired outcome that you're selling them, the more the customer believes that they will actually achieve that once they work with you, the more valuable they think your offer actually is. The less they trust you and the less likely they think they are to actually achieve that desired outcome, the less valuable they think that offer actually is. And so your goal should always be to minimize the risk in the eyes of the customer, or minimize the risk of not achieving that desired outcome in the eyes of the customer. You want to make them believe that they will 100% achieve that desired outcome, or they won't lose anything in the process. And the way that you do that, and the way that a lot of people do that, is by offering money back guarantee. Now, money back guarantees increase the perceived likelihood of success by two ways. Number one, they tell the customer that we're super confident about the offer that we're making. Because if we didn't think we'll actually achieve that offer, we will pay you your money back. And no one would be stupid enough to say that if they don't know they can actually achieve that specific outcome. So in one way, it makes the customer trust you more and trust your capabilities more. Secondly, it will also reduce the risk because the customer will think, okay, well, if this person doesn't achieve the outcome that they're promising, they're just going to pay me back anyway. So realistically, I'm not losing anything here. They're the one that's losing. losing. So it's making your offer a zero risk offer for them. And in that way, it's making your offer much more valuable. So for example, if you tell a client to pay you $5,000 and in turn you'll make them $10,000 back, and you offer them a money back guarantee, if you do achieve the desired outcome and actually make them 10K, well, they're happy. If you don't, you just pay them the 5K back, and they technically didn't actually lose anything. You're the one that lost because you're the one that tried to make them 10K and you wasted your time and you couldn't do it. And so money back guarantees are a great way to make your customer feel confident about your offer and consequently perceive your offer to be more valuable in their eyes. Now, I generally like to offer money back guarantees only on features and not on performance or results. Because as an AI automation expert, the only thing that you can control is the features of the product that you provide the customer. The performance and the results generally isn't fully in your control. A big part of it may be on how the customer actually uses it. And so when we make our money back guarantees inside our contracts, what we say is, this is the scope of work. So this is exactly the features of what we're going to build for you, and we'll pay you back, or we have a money back guarantee if we don't achieve the features in the scope of work, because we 100% know that we can achieve those features. We've done a tech feasibility. We know it's definitely possible. So all we have to do is just go and build it out. But we never say, I'll give you your money back if after using this specific automation, you don't make an extra 20%. Because I don't know how they're running the business. I don't know if that's actually realistic for their specific business. And I don't want to put myself in a position where because they didn't do what they needed to do, I now lost money. Especially when it comes to selling marketing automations, which we sell a lot of, guaranteeing performance or results is the number one way to make yourself go broke. Because we're AI automation experts, we're not marketing experts. So only guarantee things that you can 100% control and you know you can 100% achieve. I would recommend guaranteeing features, but depending on your product or service, you might guarantee something else. Just make sure you can actually deliver on it and that it's very, very, very likely you won't actually have to pay their money back, because you actually will achieve the desired outcome that you're promising. So you can still sell the dream or the desired outcome, but just when it comes to giving the money back guarantee, don't talk about money back guarantee on the results or the performance. Talk about money back guarantee on the part that you can actually control, which is the feature. Now, another way you would increase the perceived likelihood of success is by showing the customer case studies and testimonials of success stories of other clients you actually worked with. So you're telling them, hey, look, we've worked with 3 or 4 different clients and they were very happy with the solution and the outcome that they achieved from working with us. And because you're showing them that social proof, you're showing them the actual proof on what you're promising because you've delivered it for other people, they're going to think that they're also more likely to achieve that outcome. And in turn, that will increase the perceived value that they have for your offer. And that's why it's really important for you to always be trying to maximize your social proof. Getting as many testimonials and reviews as possible, having a lot of case studies to showcase that you can actually deliver results that you promise your clients. And that will in turn make your customer feel more confident by giving you their money because they feel like they're more likely to also achieve a good outcome by working with you. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think of some ways to increase your perceived likelihood of success. Whether it's guarantees, whether it's case studies, whether it's testimonials, whether it's anything else that will make your customer feel like they're not taking that much risk by working with you and feel as if they will very likely achieve the outcome that you're promising them. Then I want you to list that out here inside the AAA strategy book. The next way you can increase the value of your offer in the eyes of your customer is to minimize the time delay of them achieving that desired outcome. So what I mean is if you promised your customer a specific desired outcome, What you want to do is you want to minimize the amount of time it takes for them to actually achieve that desired outcome once they start working with you. So the ideal scenario is that you promise someone a desired outcome, and then the second they tap their card, they will achieve that desired outcome. So the amount of time it took from the time they gave you money to the time they achieved their desired outcome was literally zero. That's the ideal perfect scenario, but it's almost impossible to achieve. But what you want to do to make your offer more valuable is to minimize that time delay as much as possible. Get it as close to zero as you possibly can. The sooner the person achieves the desired outcome, the more they're willing to pay you, because the more value they see in the offer that you're providing them. If you tell someone that they'll make an extra $20,000 over the next 5 years, it's going to be a much less valuable offer than if you were to tell them they'll make an extra $20,000 tomorrow. It's common sense, but it's really important when you're building out your offer and when you're sending proposals to clients. Always keep in mind, the sooner they'll achieve the desired outcome, the more valuable they'll find your offer. Now, there's two ways that you can minimize time delay. One way is you can just make delivery as quick as possible. So do everything in your power to deliver on the final product as quick as you can. Maybe that would be with quick onboarding and fulfillment, or maybe that would be with using templates to minimize the amount of time it takes you to actually build out these solutions. So do whatever you can to make the amount of time it takes for your customer to achieve the desired outcome as short as possible. Build out templates to make your builds quicker. Be really quick with onboarding, sending contracts, invoices. Make sure you figure out ways to optimize that entire customer journey for them to achieve the desired outcome as quickly as they possibly can. But there's also another way that's especially really relevant for our industry, and that's to get them tangible, quick wins first. I want to say that one more time. Tangible, quick wins first. So the idea here is, especially if you're selling custom solutions, a customer might come to you with a project that's going to take 6 months. It might be automating some really big, long process inside their specific business. Now, what you can technically do is you can accept this project and start building out for them right now. Now, if everything goes as planned and you guys don't have to wait for the customer to give you information and there's not an insanely high amount of back and forth, you'll actually achieve building the project out in 6 months. From the eyes of the customer, during the 6 months, all they did was just lose money because they were paying you. They didn't actually achieve anything. They just kept paying you and you kept saying, oh, the project's going really well, we're building it, don't worry. And realistically, they didn't really see any tangible ROI within that 6 months. And so the value that they see in an offer like this is really low. What you want to do instead to keep your customer engaged and keep them motivated is find a way to get them ROI as quickly as possible. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean sell them a whole different solution that's just quicker to fill. What it actually means is find a way to deliver something to them within the first month, and then find a way to deliver something else to them within the next 2 months, for example. And if you can consistently provide them tangible ROI, they're going to find your offer much more valuable. Now, also from an AI strategy standpoint, I've talked about this in the other module, that you should always be focusing on quick, high ROI projects first. And that's because the AI space is moving really quick. And by getting these quick, high ROI projects done, you're making sure that you're maximizing the value you get from implementing AI in your business over time, and you're keeping everything lean and agile. But also from an offer standpoint and from a psychology standpoint, getting these quick wins first will increase the value of the offer in the eyes of your customer. So with that being said, 2 ways you can minimize time delay is by either focusing on tangible quick wins or just making your delivery as quick as possible, or by doing both, which is obviously the ideal scenario. And something you can add to your offer to make it sound as if minimizing time delay is by saying days, not weeks. We will achieve you this in days, not weeks. For example, we will automate your lead generation process in days, not weeks. Because people find anything done in a shorter amount of time more valuable. Now, with that being said, I want you guys to go back to the AAA strategy book and write down how you're making sure that the time delay is minimized. How are you making sure they'll get fast results? How are they going to achieve their desired outcome in as little time as possible? Now, just one thing I want you guys to keep in mind is that not everything you write here will actually end up making your final offer. I just want you guys to brainstorm the things that are coming to your mind that you could potentially use, and in the end, we'll select the ones that we want in order to create your irresistible offer. Now that brings us to the final part of the perceived value equation. In order to maximize the value that your customer sees inside your specific offer, what you can do is you can minimize the amount of effort and sacrifice that's required from your customer to achieve that specific outcome. Now, in simple terms, this just means make everything as frictionless as possible for your customer. So for example, if you were to come to me and say, hey Kia, pay me $100 and I'll get you a six-pack and you don't have to do anything, I would find that much more valuable than someone else that comes and says, hey Kia, pay me $100 and then I'll make you run 6 kilometers a day and do workouts in the morning and afternoon and watch your food in order to get a six-pack. Right? In the second scenario, I had to actually do a lot of things. There was a lot of effort and sacrifice required on my end. So for me, that offer isn't that valuable. But in the first case, the person was saying, just pay me $100, don't do anything, and get a six-pack. How good's that? I don't have to do anything. I just tap my card and I get a six-pack. Now, it's the same concept when it comes to any offer. The less friction or the less effort and sacrifice that's required by your customer in order to achieve that outcome, the more valuable they'll see your offer as a whole. Now, there's 4 ways you can minimize effort and sacrifice when it comes to running a AAA agency. One thing you can do is you can make your service done for you, as opposed to done with you or do it yourself. Do it yourself basically means just go and figure out and do it. Done with you means we will help you do it, but you're still doing it. Done for you means we'll do it for you. You don't have to worry about anything. You want to focus on done for you. You want to make your customer have to do as little as possible, and you take on all the responsibility to get them to the desired outcome. So you can frame this as we handle everything from setup to integration to even training your team. We literally do it all. You guys don't have to worry about a thing. That is a much more valuable offer than we'll send you a video of an NA10 masterclass and you go and build it yourself. Or you have to figure out how to train your staff to use this themselves. Because in that case, the customer has to actually do things. You want to minimize the number of things the customer has to do. The next thing you can do is simplify the client tasks. And what I mean is that if there is something your customer has to do, just make it as simple for them as possible. This is especially relevant for us because we definitely still would need the customer to do certain things. Like they need to still, for example, set up certain API keys if they don't want to share it with us, or they have to use their Google account to create a Google Cloud Console or whatever it's going to be. And so technically you still would have to get them to do certain things some of the time. What you want to do though is make that as easy for them as possible. So when you tell them to go and make a Google Cloud Console, don't just tell them to go and make a Google Cloud Console. Record a video of yourself doing it and say, this is exactly what you do step by step. So you make that process for them easy. They don't have to go and research and figure it out themselves. Or maybe jump on a call with them and walk them through it step by step. That's how you make it frictionless for your customer. Keep this in mind in every step of what you do as an AI automation agency owner. Always try and make it as easy for your client as possible. possible. The next thing you can add to your offer to make it frictionless is to reduce the learning curve for your customer. So one thing that I see in some offers and I really like is to tell customers that it's going to be built into their current systems. No customer wants to sit down and learn a new CRM. No customer wants to migrate all of their data from one system to another system. If you were to provide them an automation that worked with their current systems, well, then that will reduce the amount of effort and sacrifice they would have to make in changing, and so that will be a more valuable offer for them. So I really like it when people talk about built into your current systems, integrated with what you're currently using. So the learning curve for you is a lot smaller. The cost of changing is a lot smaller because you're not changing. Now, in a scenario where you do need them to, for example, change, or you need them to use a new software because they just have to, in that case, try and also make that change as easy and quick as possible. Give them a cheat sheet. Give them a way to contact you if they ever have any questions. Just try and make it as easy for them as possible. Now, the fourth way that you can minimize the effort and sacrifice in the eyes of your customer is to provide them an easy way of maintaining the automation after you built it for them. So if you want to charge for maintenance, you can say, we'll do the maintenance. You don't have to worry. Just pay us, I don't know, $800 a month and we'll handle everything for you. You wouldn't need to do anything. We build it, we maintain it, you just reap the benefit. Now, one thing that I have in my offer that I personally really like is that I tell customers that they'll get free maintenance as long as we work together. Think of that again. You'll get free maintenance for as long as we work together. Now, selling custom solutions, what happens is you get a customer and you build a solution for them, and then afterwards they might disappear and die. But the idea and your goal should always be to maximize the customer's lifetime value, meaning maximize the number of sales that you make from that customer. You want them to come back for the second solution and then come back for the third one, fourth one, fifth one, and sixth, and so on and so forth. What we say is that we will maintain all of the workflows we've built for you for completely free, so as long as we're working on a new project for you at that time. What we're trying to achieve here is the customer coming back to us for more projects, because they know that if they're still giving me a new project, I'm also going to maintain everything else for free. So it's a win-win for the client and for us. They get free maintenance and we get more business. So I really like this one, and I would urge for you guys to also put it inside your offers. Now, once again, I want you guys to come over to the AAA strategy book and write down how you're going to make the experience as frictionless for your customer as possible. Now, that was everything in terms of Alex Hormozi's perceived value equation. We increase the desired outcome, we increase perceived likelihood of success, we reduce time delay, and we reduced effort and sacrifice in order to maximize the perceived value of our offer inside the eyes of our ideal customer. But there's still one more thing you can do to increase the value of your offer, and that's to give away bonuses. What I mean is you should give away things that other people will charge for. So give away things that other people will charge for. What I mean, for example, is instead of telling them you're going to charge them $100 for training their staff, tell them you're going to do free training. This is going to increase the value of your offer because you're giving them something additional for that same price. The $100 might not necessarily change your business altogether, might not make you rich, but it will get that customer to be more likely to go ahead with you, which in turn might actually make you rich if you guys work on 4 or 5 different projects over time. Give away a free AI audit. You remember how I talked about the foot in the door technique, or just a way for you to start the conversation with the customer so you can sell them more things? A free AI audit is exactly that. You're not necessarily giving them a free AI audit just because you want to. You're giving them a free AI audit as a way to start the conversation and then later on sell them on an actual solution that you found useful for their business within that audit. Now, what you can also do is just offer a free AI audit with all of your solutions as a way to increase the value you're providing your customer. Now, another thing you can do is not charge for discovery. Discovery is just a back and forth with the customer in order to understand what the exact solution that you have to build for them is. Understand the problem, understand the process, understand how you can automate it. Now, discovery within itself is a process that takes a pretty long time, especially if you're selling custom solutions. And so generally, some people like to charge for it. But keep in mind, most customers don't want to pay for discovery because they don't even know if they're going to go ahead with you at the point of discovery. And so if you want to charge for discovery, you would probably have to be an agency that has some sort of social proof or some sort of authority in the space. As a new agency, I would never recommend charging for discovery, but what I would recommend is instead of just doing it for free and not mentioning it, put it inside your offer. Say we're going to do discovery for free so the customer sees it and it increases the value of that discovery. Because if you don't tell someone you're doing free discovery and you do it anyway, they just think it's normal. But if you tell them that you're going to do free discovery for them, then they know at least what you did for them for free, and that will increase the value of your offer. So what I'd recommend is always tell them that you're going to do free discovery. Don't just do it anyway. And I probably wouldn't recommend you guys charge unless you are an agency that can charge for something like that. Now, another thing you can give away for free is easy automation templates. Like I said before, there's a bunch of products that I have on the community for you guys to use for completely free. A bunch of templates you can easily customize and apply to your customers' businesses. What you can literally do is just grab those templates and give it to your customers as a little bit of free value. And that in turn will increase the perceived value of your offer and get your customers to be more likely to go ahead with the offer that you're making them. So for example, if you're building them some sort of internal process automation, you can also say, look, we'll also automate your SEO with a pretty cool workflow that we've been working on. So your customer just pays for the internal automation and also gets the SEO automation as an added bonus. I wouldn't recommend going too far though. Don't just start giving away everything for free and promising the world to people, because you're still running a business and you're still constrained by 24 hours inside a day. And so you don't want to do things that won't bring any value to you. So what I'd recommend is do add bonuses to a certain degree to make your offer more valuable, but don't go overboard when now you're just fulfilling on all these random promises that you didn't actually have to make. So what I want you guys to do now is go back to the AAA strategy book and write down what bonuses you can give away to your customers for free.